So I'm going to be doing an anterior to posterior glide of the talocrural joint in the closed packed position. This is good to help with dorsiflexion in the ankle. The closed packed position itself is good because it helps with active movement from the patient to get them into those extra degrees of dorsiflexion if they can tolerate weight bearing and balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my patient stand over here, and he's going to put his one leg up on to my table that is lowered, and I'm going to have him lunge forward, and when he does that, I'm going to take the web space of my hand and I'm going to place it on the talocrural joint, and I'm going to put an anterior to posterior force backwards. So if you need to hold on to me, you can. So what I'm going to do, just go ahead, like I said, lunge forward for me. And as you do that, I'm pushing anterior to posteriorly. Good, now come back. And then one more time, anterior to posteriorly as he comes in with that dorsiflexion. Okay, and now the next thing I'm going to do is a squeeze test. So I'm going to have him come up on my table. And can you go ahead and lay on your back for me? So the squeeze test is used, you can scoot back a little bit. Do you want to pull? So what the squeeze test is for, it's to see if you have a syndesmotic ankle sprain or if you suspect a high fibular fracture or a fracture down below too. So what you do is you have him lie supine and you take your hands and come over here. You cup them behind the calf. Now I'm going to start in the middle, keep your legs straight. And if I'm testing to see if I suspect a high fibular fracture, I'm going to start away from that and I'm going to gently squeeze in, gradually applying more pressure. Does that hurt you? No. So if it doesn't hurt him, I can move my way up and squeeze again, and I'd continue to get closer to the spot and applying more pressure as needed. And same with the high ankle sprain. I would start above it and work my way down, gradually putting pressure and seeing if it's eliciting any pain. My next thing I'm going to do is a caudal glide of the patella. So that is from head to toe. I'm going to put his leg with a little bit of flexion to get it out of the closed pack position. And a caudal glide of the patella is good if you have a patient who is hypomobile in the knee, specifically going into flexion, and if it has a hypomobile patella inferior glide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the web space of my hand and I'm going to come right above the knee, and I'm going to stabilize below 2 kind of, and then I'm just going to press from head to toe on that patella in the caudal direction and see if that elicits any pain. And then I would also see his range of motion afterwards. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I'll have you go over here. The last thing I'm going to do is the SAG or Godfrey sign, and this is part of the diagnostic cluster of PCL tests. So you don't want to do this by itself because it won't tell you everything by itself, but it's a good part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him supine again, and I'm going to have him bend his hip up and then his knee, so he's in a 90-90, and I'm going to hold him below his joint line of his ankle, and what I want you to do is just give me your leg and let it sag and go down to the joint line and look to see. And I don't want you to be firing any muscles, just give it to me. Good. And I would see if his tibia was sagging due to gravity, and if so, I would suspect a PCL injury. That's it.